imagine shooting a 20-minute video and halfway through editing you found out that about 7.5 minutes was cut off of it. Whoops. So we did post on our Facebook page yesterday about looking at a storefront in Hermitage, and I wanted to talk about that just a little bit. First off, I'm not in my own vehicle. Our car is in the shop. I had to make a 3-hour round trip to go pick up some more rodents. That's why the phone's in a funny position right now. But anyway, I want to take you back to the very beginning of Big Sal's Feeder Farm. When we first started out, as I told you in the past, that we borrowed $35 to borrow our first, or we borrowed $35 to get our first breeder rats and to start breeding. A few months into breeding, we had the opportunity to sign up for a local reptile show that at the time I didn't know this show even existed. They wanted $95 or $92 per table, something like that. And I ended up buying a table. You had to prepay online, and I prepaid. I mean, it had to have been like 5 months in advance. But during the process of preparing for this reptile show, I went to a family member to see if he'd be willing to lend me enough money that I could purchase a banner for the business and enough money to build maybe 4 or 5 rat racks. That way we could breed enough rodents that by the time the reptile show came around, we would be ready to sell something. Now again, this is in the very early days. I got a lot of criticism. This particular family member, although I love him to death, was very critical and full of warnings, like, you know what you're doing. You know, he was afraid that, you know, respectfully so, he was afraid that we weren't going to make it. You know, if you're talking to somebody that's not in the reptile world about trying to, you know, hey, I want to breed rats for a living, or hey, I want to breed roaches for a living, they're not going to be quick to hand you money to help you. They're going to think you're nuts and whatever. And if the roles were reversed, I probably wouldn't have lent me money either. But anyway, I was wanting to borrow, I think it was like $700 to actually build these racks and get enough inventory to make this first show. He had only lent me about half of that money. But I also had to agree to pay this accountant to get our name legal. So it cost us $250 to have this guy print one sheet of paper, and we had to sign it and send it into the government with another check for $125 just to legalize our name, Big Sal's Feeder Farm. So the crappy part about it is you could print that paper right at home, fill it out, send them a check for $125 and you're good. But I had to pay an additional $250 to make this happen. So that I was really upset about, but he still lent me maybe $300 or $400. I was still able to build a couple rat racks and start our journey. Fast forward, they ended up canceling that show less than a week before, which really irritated me. But long story short, we ended up figuring out the reason is, like, they were way overcharging for tables, probably three times as much as most people charge. Plus, he didn't know enough people in the hobby to fill those tables, you know. I don't even know to this day who that guy was, but we ended up building our reptile show at the same venue, so it's kind of silly to us, you know. But anyway, fast forward, when we got our building, I went and signed papers to purchase our building that we have now, where we have our store at. And I knew that it was going to cost a lot of money to fill the building up with inventory and to have everything ready to go to my liking. So I made a post on our Facebook page of hoping to take in donations. Also, I had like an investment form typed up to where if anybody was interested in investing, it explained like the payback method. I was willing to pay up to 30% in interest, and it was depending on how much you lent. If it was, say, up to $500, you would get this amount of interest. If it was between $500 and $2,000, you'd make this amount of interest. And I only brought that paper maybe 4 or 5 different people, and I was really hoping to come up with, you know, a good anywhere between 10 and 15,000 ideally. I would have even been okay with $5,000, because once the building got there, we needed to put floors in there, insulation, walls. We were going to need, you know, shelving and stuff like that, plus the inventory itself that we're going to be selling. All said and done, we got, I think, just over $200 in donations from our awesome customers, and one person, or one couple rather, lent us $500, and the rest we had to do on our own. But still, when I brought that paper to the same person, the same family member who lent me money a couple years prior, he chewed me a new one. He just, are you crazy? You cannot give 30% interest. How are you ever going to grow as a business if you pay that much? But it didn't matter to me, because in my mind, I'm like, it's going to work out. I have a dream. I figured this stuff out. I just need to get it up and running. I need to get the ball rolling, and it's going to work out in the end. Trust me. And he was just like, no, you're stupid. Just don't do it. You know, this is not the way to go. So fast forward a little bit, after 3 months after the building got delivered, we were up and running. I believe the building got delivered to our property the first week of January. And then on March 7th or 8th, we opened up shop. And I guess you could say the rest is history, you know. If you're a local person that's been coming a while, you've been there, you know, our shelves weren't stocked when we opened. We weren't full of stuff. It was half empty. But it worked. It was doable. We made it work. And every sale we made, we would just keep rolling the money back over into buying more inventory, building more rat racks, breeding more inventory. You know, just like we've done from day one. We just keep putting all the money back into the business, and we just keep growing it, you know. Well, now that the store has been open for about 18 months, we need to expand again. It's a very small place we're at now, and on good days, we're getting about 50 sales a day. On the normal now, our average is about 35 sales per day. Wow, that sun's bright. So, even though it's an average of 35 sales, not everybody shows up with just one person. I mean, sometimes a whole family will come in for one sale, or it's a couple, could be 3, 4, 5 people at a time. So, on the days when we have 40 sales, we might have 100 people in and out of the store that day. Add to that parking. Our parking lot's not very big, so we know that we need to expand, but we also know that our options are limited. We could go out and buy another building to put on the property, which I really do not want to do, because during the 4.5 years we've been there, we've already bought 3 additional buildings. I think there's, including the house, I think there's 6 buildings on our property right now. So I really didn't want to do that. Another option is to find a retail store very, very close. I'd say within 7 or 8 minutes of our place, and move to that, and only do business out of that retail store. And then another option would be to open a second location, somewhat far enough away that it would help and attract new customers, and also close enough that I could make trips there back and forth to bring inventory, build rat racks, and just do all the daily stuff that needs done. So yesterday we went and looked at a place in Hermitage, Pennsylvania, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to open a second location, and hopefully next week we can go and sign papers on this place. And then I'm hoping for, I'd say maybe November 1st to be our opening day, or somewhere in that time period, just a few weeks within signing papers. I'm personally very excited, but I know there's going to be a lot of work involved. I'm already doing so much, and my wife is, and our workers are. We're all going above and beyond as it is. But, I know it's going to work, I've made a lot of bad decisions in my life, and I think at each time I knew when something wasn't going to work. But when it comes to this dream I have for Big Sal's Feeder Farm, plus with the trial and error I've done over the last 6 years, I'm very excited about it, and I know it's going to be an awesome expansion, But on my way to where I just come from, I gave somebody a call. It was the person that lent me, $300 or $400, when we first started the business. The same person that asked me if I was crazy when I told him I was going to pay 30% interest for people that are lending me money to open the store. And, I called him with the good news and said, hey man, guess what? We're going to open a second location. Automatically. Did you figure out what your overhead's going to be a month? Did you add in all the expenses for employment, utilities, phones, extra inventory, total criticism, which I understand. You know what? You got someone that loves you and their family, you don't want them to fail. But sometimes the people that are closest to you will talk you out of an idea because they're afraid you're going to fail. I appreciate the criticism. I love criticism. I don't care if it's good or bad. I can learn from it all. But I don't like hearing it. I don't like hearing it when it's constant negative, when, hey, I've proved that in 6 years we have been able to grow and expand to where we are now. And now that we're ready to grow and expand some more, I get the criticism. But I'm okay with it because I think that's how you know you're on the right path. You might worry some people that, I don't know how to explain it. But all I know is I'm very excited about this next step in our journey. And I think it's going to be amazing that we're able to expand into a second location. And I would love to open a couple more, to be honest, over the next few years. Of course, we got to take it one day at a time and see how it turns out. But if I could bring better quality feeders to your local area, if I could bring you cheaper feeders that you're not having to go to these chain pet stores that are charging you 3 and 4 times the price, the more people I can bring that to, the better it is for all of us. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited. Plus, in this Hermitage store, it's more than double the space we have now. So we can have more inventory, like more things that you need, like snake racks, more enclosures, tanks. We might even expand into other part of the pet trade, like dog food. Don't hold me to that. I'm just saying that's a possibility. But we have had a lot of people in the past say, hey, man, if you can only sell dog food, I'd never have to go to the pet store again. I could get all my shopping done here for my animals. So it's always been something that we thought about. But even if we just stick to reptiles, which is really where my heart is at, all the better. You know what I mean? So I just want to say, you know, I will keep you posted on when we open. I'll probably film some of the building, and as we put inventory and, you know, bring a freezer and rat racks out there, I'm sure I'll film some of it and post pictures and keep y'all updated on it. But everyone who's been on this journey with us so far, whether you just started coming to us a month ago, a year ago, or if you've been coming to us from day one, like Efren. I know Efren's been here since day one. We were in Girard when I first started seeing Efren, and then a couple others, Lee also. You know what? We appreciate it. I'm hoping this isn't gonna slow us down at all. You know, our store hours and Hermitage's store hours shouldn't mess with each other, shouldn't hurt nothing. We plan on keeping enough inventory that both stores will have, you know, a good amount of feeders to help everybody out. But yeah, I just want to tell you about that. And you know what? If someone criticizes you, take it with a grain of salt. Of course, listen to them, because you might be on the wrong path. But take it with a grain of salt. If you have a dream, go for it. You know, you only live once. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall. The point is, you got to get back up every single time. And trust me when I say I have fallen many times. I have made many, many mistakes. And I mean, so many times I've wanted to throw the towel in. But the point is, I didn't. That's the thing. It don't matter if you it don't matter if you think about throwing the towel in. It doesn't matter if you think about quitting. As long as you don't. As long as you get back up and keep moving forward, nothing else is going to matter. So with that, I'm out of here. I love you guys. I appreciate you. And I will keep you posted on what's happening. Take care.